Welcome to the Fear and Greed Daily Interview. I'm Sean Elmer. We've spoken to a lot of founders and innovators this year who are doing things a bit differently and hoping to disrupt their industries. But taking on global giants like Nike and Adidas in the $170 billion sportswear industry sounds like a pretty significant challenge. Timid Souls is an Australian premium sportswear brand aiming to set itself apart through the technology that goes into its product and through the support it provides to athletes. Kevin Roberts is a former senior executive at Adidas and the former CEO of Cricket Australia. He's now the co-founder of Timid Souls. Kevin, welcome to Fear and Greed.
Thanks for having me, Sean.
You work in a very senior role at Adidas, one of the biggest sportswear companies in the world. You're also CEO of the premium brand 2XU. So you know how competitive the industry is. Why are you jumping into it with Timid Souls?
I guess it comes off the back of a lifelong passion for this on my part and my co-founder, Tim Jackson, who's a former Olympic athlete and an exercise scientist by background. So we came together earlier this year, Sean, and really looked at the market, and we thought, there is space there for a brand like this. The big guys, by definition, are trying to get bigger, so they're not playing so much in the premium segments. A lot of newer entrants are playing in what you might call athleisure or more active wear, which is not really performance product. It's more everyday active wear product, and there's space there for a premium technical brand in what we know are the two biggest segments in the market. Running and workout or gym are worth close to $100 billion of the entire market globally. And it's a much less crowded space, and it's the space that we've got the greatest expertise in and the greatest passion for.
Okay, so Kevin, as I get older, certainly running, I've always been a runner, and my shoes have gone from whatever I happen to have at the time to now I always buy shoes that suit me, and I make a lot of effort to make sure those shoes do suit me. I'm sort of moving into that space in terms of clothing as well, because I'm quite suddenly particular, and maybe it is as you get older, you get more money and all that sort of thing. Where I'm getting to here, is this targeting sports people, or is it targeting people like me who kind of short of time, and it matters to me how I feel when I'm doing exercise?
It's targeting anyone who runs or works out and really wants to get better, so they're serious about their kit. And being a premium brand, it's at the upper end of price points, so there's a certain level of income required to play in that space. But we're seeing a lot more discerning consumption now, Sean, aren't we? Whether it's from an environmental perspective and sustainability, or whether it's people really unleashing their passions for products that genuinely work better for them.
Okay, so Nike, Adidas, those sorts of organisations spend a fortune on product research and development. What makes your products different?
They do spend a lot, but the big difference is that they're playing in those mid-price points. So for the big brands, it's all about volume. It's not about the most premium product in the world. It's about the biggest volume. And we're obsessed about creating the best technical products in the world. So we've put a whole lot into R&D, particularly in our materials, and we've got a 3-phase product development process. So rather than starting with the design of a product, which is where a lot of brands start, we actually start with the sports science and Tim's background in exercise science, ensuring that we're understanding the biomechanics of the body, the physiology of the body, and ensuring that our products and the materials they're made of can meet those needs. So 75% of our apparel is going to use unique materials because we assessed what was readily available on the market from fabric mills around the world, and it didn't meet our standards, which are pretty exacting. And if you're out to create the best in the world, you need the best materials. So that's what we've done.
Okay, it's funny. It sounds a little bit like many years ago I interviewed the founder of Lorna Jane. Now they have gone mid-market since then, but it's a very similar story, but they were in the active wear, obviously. And initially their price point was very high because she was really worried about how women felt when they were doing exercise. And it's kind of a bit the same.
To some degree it is. I guess we're much more focused on running as an activity and working out, whereas a brand like Lorna Jane, who've done a great job, is one of those brands that's very comfortable for everyday use. And all of those brands have their place, but they're in a slightly different segment to us.
Stay with me, Kevin. We'll be back in a minute. I'm talking to Kevin Roberts, co-founder of No Timid Souls. Are you working with athletes on No Timid Souls to make sure you get, because science is one point, but the practice of it obviously is something different. Are you working with athletes?
We are. So we've got a good network of athletes given our backgrounds. We've actually got a unique model rather than the traditional sponsorship model. So in addition to working with athletes on product testing and product fitting and all of those really important things, we've actually got a program that gives back to athletes called Raise the Bar. So we know that a lot of athletes aren't earning significant amounts of income, and our brand and the platform, the digital platform we operate on, is actually going to give back to those athletes as well.
Okay, it's a good point, because I think the numbers I've seen is that about half of top athletes make less than $23,000 a year.
Absolutely.
It's not very much for a nation that really puts a lot of our self-worth, the nation's self-worth, into sport.
It's not, is it? And obviously athletes in the bigger professional sports among the football codes and cricket, as an example, are very well looked after, as they should be. But then those athletes who are inspiring us every couple of years at the Olympics, the Commonwealth Games, those events where Tim, my partner, used to participate himself and compete himself. As you say, half of those athletes who compete at national and international level earning less than $23,000 a year. So we're creating an opportunity for everyone who buys one of our products online to make a contribution, a financial contribution to an athlete of their choice on our crowdsourced support platform. We'll also contribute directly to those athletes. So we'll have a specific product line called Raise the Bar, and anyone who buys those products will be contributing a percentage of the revenue to the athletes on the platform, but also providing connection to a big network of people who will provide mentoring, training facilities, and other things beyond financial support that are so important to athletes. And we're really fortunate to have Drew Ginn, the former Awesome Foursome rower, and Tamsin Manu, who of course was Tamsin Lewis, as the champions of this platform, helping ensure that we attract the right athletes to the platform, the right supporters to the platform, and they're really passionate about it, given their journeys as world-class athletes as well.
So when does everything go on sale? When can people start looking for No Timid Souls products?
So we'll have our product in the market in the second quarter of next year, Sean. So as we alluded to up front, it's a really deep and long R&D process, starting with sports science, then moving to material science, and then into design. So we're in the prototyping phase at the moment. We've got 5 rounds of prototypes in all of our products, just to make sure we get them absolutely right. And come the second quarter of next year, they'll be in the market. We have experienced some very minor delays as a result of what we see in global supply chains, but we've been really lucky that we've been able to progress this process and to see product in the market in the second quarter of next year in Australia, and then slightly later than that in the US.
And what's the marketing strategy? Have you solved that one yet?
So that's something that we've partly solved and will continue to work on forever and a day. But certainly by supporting athletes and giving back to the entire sports community, we've also got a program whereby we'll sponsor sports clubs, and 7.5% of every purchase made by members of sports clubs will go back to their communities in those clubs. We don't touch the money, we don't charge a fee, but that's a great way for us to give back to the sports community, but also build our own community of No Timid Souls. We'll be doing a lot in social media, as you'd anticipate, both paid and otherwise, to build our community, and a lot around the athletes on our platform, showcasing them, testing our product, and so on, and a lot of inspirational stories about athletes, because No Timid Souls is really an attitude, Sean, and it's an attitude that we know resonates with people. We celebrate the human endeavour. We celebrate anyone who's having a crack, and that mindset is really resonating with the focus groups and the other people that we've shared this with. So we're confident in our ability to build that community on the back of the brand attitude, the product itself being the best technical sportswear, and then community building and giving back to sport along the way.
Did you come up with the name No Timid Souls? I love the name.
Tim and I, we love the Theodore Roosevelt speech from back in 1910, The Man in the Arena. and really motivated by that. It means a whole lot to both of us. And so that was what really brought us together in the spirit of the brand. And it was Tim's brilliance, not just in exercise science, but his brilliance with words. And he said, I think it might be no Timid Souls on a phone call. And I said, yeah, that's it. We're done.
Wow.
And we did obviously then test that with a bunch of focus groups before trademarking it. But we've now trademarked it in markets around the world that represent over 90% of the global economy. And so we're really conscious of having that intellectual property base ready for a global expansion when the time comes.
Now, Kevin, you were previously the Chief Executive of Cricket Australia. Do you miss it at the moment, like when the Ashes are here and things like that?
I guess I'm in the fortunate position to, like a lot of people, to be able to watch the Ashes. So I don't miss that because I'm still part of it.
Yeah.
And our kids, our family are entrenched in community cricket. So I coached a couple of teams last season and I'm still involved in the background this season. So I'm involved in all of the positive aspects of cricket, from the grassroots to watching it. And like anyone who's spent a life in sport, I've got lifelong friends from my playing days and my days working in cricket. So in a way, you've got the easy job of being a fan, being a coach, being a mentor, and not having all the difficulties of having to navigate through COVID like all of the sports do at the moment.
You had your own navigational issues when you took over Cricket Australia because it was a very tough time post sandpaper-gate, just as a management, so put the sporting part aside. An incredible management challenge to kind of keep an organisation going and momentum going when you have a crisis like that.
Absolutely. And a lot of people deserve so much credit for that rebuild, and there hasn't been so much said about that recently, given the key theme in elite sport and entertainment at the moment is really navigating through COVID. But I think in a situation like that, Sean, I come back to the fundamentals. You need to make sure that you're doing the right thing by your people and the right thing by your customers. Are you building that engagement and providing ever-improving experiences for your people? Because it's a really tough gig for people working in an environment like that, where their organisation's being criticised, and a lot of those people are only doing great work. And then similarly ensuring that you're connecting with fans and regaining the respect and the love of fans along the way, who are, the lifeblood of professional sport. They're really the difference between it being amateur and professional. And in that Australian team environment, Justin Langer in particular, who came in as coach with a mandate to evolve and change that culture and win back the support of fans, deserves so much credit, along with everybody else who did a lot of brilliant work along the way that they can be proud of.
Kevin, thank you for talking to Fear and Greed.
Pleasure, Sean. Thanks for having me.
That was Kevin Roberts, co-founder of No Timid Souls. This is the Fear and Greed Daily Interview. Join me every morning for the full Fear and Greed podcast with all the business news you need to know. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your day.